Welcome back to Adia Yarn Arts and our tutorial shorts. Just demonstrating the long tail cast on, which is one of my favorite cast ons to do. You estimate how long of a tail you need, and it takes getting to know knitting a little bit to estimate. Some people wrap the yarn in a single level and estimate that way, but we're only casting on 6 stitches, so this we can eyeball really easy. The long tail cast on looks like a slingshot. You scoop the yarn that's on your thumb, and then you scoop the yarn that's on your index finger. You can slow this down in your settings if you need to see it a little bit slower. 6 stitches to do a basic knit stitch. Remember, your tail has to be toward the back, and your working yarn is toward where the source is, where the ball is. Keep them separate. If this is a really long tail, you want to trim it because you don't want to use it for working yarn. This is the basic knit stitch. You go in through the front of the leg of the stitch, wrap the yarn, pull out, drop. Through the leg, wrap the yarn, pull out, drop. And there you've completed one row. Now, if you would like to increase, if the pattern calls for it, an increase in stitch, there are a couple of ways to do that. One of the simplest ways is to simply do a yarn over. And that yarn over counts as a stitch. Though it's a fiddly stitch, it will fall off your hook if you're not careful. So you have to be really careful and keep track of all your yarn overs. It does look different because it's not a complete loop. So it'll always look like it's missing something. Notice how with this loop, there is a little bar connecting them. The yarn over doesn't have that. So if you're searching for your yarn overs, if your work is 6 inches long and you're searching for your yarn overs, you can tell because it won't have a little bar connecting the 2 loops, right? This is the easiest way to increase your stitch. Okay, so we started with 6. We now have 7 stitches on our hook. And if you can see, the yarn over looks a little bit different. You notice it doesn't have a bar in between. So it's just kind of hanging out there. So when you go back to knit, you have to be really careful that you don't drop it. So you come to your yarn over, don't accidentally drop it, go through the leg, and knit it like any other stitch. And that's a yarn over increase. Now you have 7 bona fide stitches on your needle. Another way to increase is to do a KFB, which is a knit front and back, which means the one stitch that you're knitting, you knit it in the front, pull up a little bit, swing to the back, go through the back leg, wrap again, and now you've turned that one stitch into two. Show you again. Go through the front leg, wrap, bring up, do not drop the stitch. You're going to pull it up a little bit, go to the back, go through that back leg, wrap the stitch again, and now you can pull it off. Now you've done 2 stitches instead of just 1. So you've increased from 2 stitches to 4 just on this right hand hook.